Alright guys, thanks for tuning in to Super Obvious. I am B-Diz the Rockstar.
I am Werds Illah.
I am Mr. 4.0.
In this video, we're talking about Power Season 6, Episode 6, entitled Inside Man. Now, it seems like the show starts right after the last episode ended.
I'm surprised they didn't start off with a funeral for Proctor, you know, like...
Oh.
But I guess, you know, it's still early. They're still doing the investigation and everything, but, you know.
One of Vincent's guys said, why would you want to do a deal with this kid knowing he just fucked you?
Oh.
And Vincent,
okay,
Vincent said, I don't trust them. But if Tommy and Ghost are going to give me, what was it, $2 million, I'm going to take that. And then when it's all said and done, I'm going to kill all three of them anyway.
And right after that, it shows Tommy and Ghost. And they're bickering about what they're going to do to get the money that they owe Vic.
Yes.
And Tommy tells Ghost that he knew he was dealing.
And Ghost, of course, he's pissed. He's like, so you mean you knew this and you didn't tell me? He's like, I mean, yeah, of course I knew, but you mean to tell me like we didn't have what we had going on, basically?
We were too busy trying to kill each other, so...
And as far as like ideas, Ghost says that he has leverage on someone that can help get some money.
And he's like, who? He's like, somebody that owes me some favor back in the day or whatever. He was like, well, do you trust this guy? He's like, yeah, of course I trust him. Basically, he's not trying to tell him because it's fucking Dre.
Tommy also says to Ghost, if I decide to help you, I'm working with you, not for you.
Yes.
Now, if I was Ghost, I would have headbutted him.
Next scene, we have Ghost talking to Tate about trying to get the money, and Tate's like, fuck you.
Yeah, basically, because he's trying to get him to take money out of his campaign in order to make this payment back to Vincent, but turmoil between them two, like, Tate's just like, nah, I'm fed up, man, fuck that.
Ghost explains to Tate that he will be able to replace the money
within the 24-hour period.
Next, we have Tommy at the warehouse, and we see some of his product, like, being moved with a forklift and stuff.
And what's his name? Jason is there, and he's asking, he's like, well, you know, you usually never get this much stuff, you know, so what's going on? You want to let me in on something? He's like, well, what does it matter to you? I mean, if I'm paying you, what's the difference? And he's like, well, I mean, you're right, I guess. But you know Jason, he's always up to plotting on something.
He asks Tommy if there's anything else that he needs. Next scene, we have Ghost meeting with Dre, and they talk about Jason, also Sax having a hold on Dre's daughter. Ghost explains some details about the product. Dre asks why Ghost would trust him since he's working with the DEA. And the man, Alphonse, walks in, and he looks kind of mean.
Yeah, he looks suspect.
Next, we have Ghost and Tommy at Tommy's warehouse where there's a trunk full of product. And Ghost thanks him and says he didn't have to do this, and Tommy said, basically like, yeah, I didn't.
Yeah, no, I didn't.
Tommy's boys ask who that was, and he lies and said it was Jason.
One of Jason's goons or something.
Yeah, Tommy tells his boys that he can't pay them for the job, which they're upset about.
Of course, obviously, you know, they're like, hey man, fuck with you, but we know we don't work for free, so we gonna have to decline.
Yeah, they was like, basically, give us our cut or we're not doing it.
Yeah, basically. And then the big dude, what's his name, BG, was like, I'll do it, boss.
Lurch.
Basically.
Lurch.
Well, once he does that, then the other guys kind of get on board.
Yeah,
like,
because Tommy was like, thank you. He's like, do I need to replace two workers?
Yeah, and then Two Bit's like, basically like, look, don't ask me to do this shit again though. You know what I'm saying? And as soon as Tommy walks out of the room, they both grab BG and they're like, yo, what the fuck? We was negotiating, man. What the fuck you doing, man?
And he's like, it's for the kid.
He's like, oh, company, man, motherfucker.
That was pretty funny, yeah, with all that bickering. Next scene, we have Ghost being pulled over by Sergeant Rodriguez and Detective McCaw.
Yeah, I think that's how they spell it.
McCaw, her name
was. Yeah.
Yo, is Sax on time out or something? Because he wasn't in this episode.
Wow, I didn't even notice that.
Well, they were doing all this stuff for Tariq, I guess.
They asked Ghost about Proctor being killed and if Tariq might have heard something. Ghost says that he was at dinner with Ramona.
Yes, and Rodriguez basically confirms that, like, yes, we already know that, you know.
They ask Ghost if he knows where Tariq is, and it kind of cuts off before he was going to answer or not answer.
Yeah.
Vic meets with Tosh, and he tells her how him and Tariq do business. Also tells how Tariq kind of messed with his product and tells her Tariq is with him until he's paid.
Yeah. And basically he comes back to the car and Tariq, he's like, yeah, you were right. He's like, I know, I'm right about all of it.
Next we have Keisha. She gets a knock on the door and it's Ghost. Keisha is upset with what's previously happened between Ghost and Tommy. Ghost and Tommy talk for a little bit about getting more help to move the product, like they need some more hands, more workers.
Right.
We get another knock on the door and it's Tasha. She bursts in talking shit.
Of course.
Why you didn't tell me who is Vincent?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, Tasha.
Ghost explains that they will get Tariq back because they are paying Vic $2 million by tomorrow, and the reaction on Tasha's face when she's told that.
Yeah, she was just like, what the fuck, really though?
Ghost's phone goes off and it's Tate, and Ghost gets Ghost. He bounces.
He's like, my office now.
Yeah, so he has to go see Ramona and Tate.
Ramona, she's so sexy.
Ramona and Tate are talking to Ghost, and they're kind of deciding as far as what they want to do as far as postponing
the fundraiser.
And Ramona is like, well, no.
We can't do that. No, we got to get this going. We need you guys to get in front of this thing now.
So of course, my man Ghost does what he does. You know what I'm saying? Basically, he was like, let's have it here. Let's let them pay cash up front to get however many, minutes with you or whatnot. And Ramona was like, that's perfect. You're on a roll, aren't you? Well, actually, yeah. And then I'm sorry, I'm well ahead of myself. Tate didn't like that at first. And then Ramona steps in and said, yes, he'll do it.
Tate says he's not feeling it.
Yeah.
And then Ramona kind of does a little bit of more convincing. And Ghost talks about a girl that's being held illegally and needs Tate's help.
Yes.
And that's when Tate is about to be like, basically like, hell the fuck no. And then she like puts his shoulder, and he just like,
yeah.
But I think that was like, I think that was like code. I think that might have been a code for their little thing that they got going on. It could have been.
Yeah, something was going on.
It could have been.
Next we have Tasha telling Keisha to handle the money washing. Zig shows up and Tasha says it's not a good time. She pays Zig and he says he will be back. Keisha asks who it was and Tasha says it's just some guy that she went on a few dates with. Keisha's like, that's bullshit, I know your type. He looks like a drug dealer.
Yeah, exactly. So she basically opens up and tells her that she's been working with one of the girls that comes to there and drops her child off for the daycare. And basically Keisha's like, well, how do I get in there? How much more can she move?
It kind of hints that they're going to start working together.
I mean, she has issues with Tasha, but not enough. Not the same issue she has with Ghost. Like, she completely doesn't fuck with Ghost.
Yeah,
she's a
clear.
fucking.
Because she says that Tasha's like, well, don't tell Ghost. She's like, I don't fuck with him.
Yeah,
she's stupid for that.
But I think also, even so far in this episode, it really shows how so many of them don't fuck with each other, but they all have to be together for this to even possibly work.
Absolutely, and they're all trying to find little side hustles and stuff.
Next, we go to the club where we see Tosh and Keisha. They talk to a dancer, and we can see that the dancers are moving
the drugs.
I think her name was Tiffany.
Oh yeah,
I think it was
girl that she was on the phone
Yeah,
last
I think
episode.
it was Tiffany.
We also see Tommy's guys on the streets, like street corners, barbershops. They're moving weight, so things are looking good.
There's
with that.
There's a big montage of basically everybody doing their thing and their part to try to get this $2 million.
Next, we see Dre walking up to one of the workers, and he's like, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah. He's like, I'm waiting for them to get off the street corner of the competition.
And then Dre looks at him and he's like,
"Yo, you're not
cut up for this, man."
And then Dre basically walks up and takes the knife, does a little shank,
stab,
and walks off that quick.
We see Tosh briefly working on the books to make it seem like the business and the numbers and the income is legit.
Yeah.
Next, we go to Tommy's warehouse where everything is looking good. Ghost and Tosh organize the money, and it seems like they have their half of the ransom.
Yes.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Next, we have Ghost and Tommy in a truck, and he asks, "What are we doing?" And Tommy doesn't respond. Ghost wants to know how things are going to be
between them
once this whole Tariq situation is taken care of.
Yeah. So basically, Tommy asks him, "Are you packing?" And Ghost says yes, and then he says to Tommy, "Are you packing?" Tommy said, "Always." So then it was like, okay, and that's when Tommy was like, "Well, that's your answer."
Yes.
Oh, they get pulled over by a bunch of guys, and Jason basically says how Tommy and Ghost both owe them.
Yeah, he's like, "Oh, I knew you guys are working together again." He's like, "No, we're not technically." And he's like, "Well, it doesn't matter. You're late on a payment anyway, so I figure I'd take this money." He's like, "Yeah, but we need that." He's like, "Yeah, that's why I'm only gonna take half, and that'll make both of you even."
Tommy's paying Jason for ghost protection, and Ghost is paying Jason for killing one of Jason's goons.
Next, we go to Vic right after this scene, and Vic seems disappointed that all his money isn't there.
Yes, and they're all in there together. So now he brings in Tariq into the room and sits him down, and they're all sitting there. And of course, goes like, "Oh, Tariq, you okay?" Da, da, da. And next thing you know, Vince starts filling up a potato sack with looks what to be some oranges.
Yeah.
And if anybody knows anything about mob movies or anything, you kind of know where this is headed after this.
I know I did.
It was a beatdown.
Yeah.
It was definitely a beatdown.
To his ribs up.
Yeah, he got hit with the bag like several times, and then eventually even Tommy looks concerned and worried and kind of like half gets up like, hey man, stop. Like,
and of course Ghost starts going crazy. He's like getting up, he's going to hold him down and everything. So it was intense.
Tommy's like, enough!
And then Vic pulls out a knife, and they think that, you know, Tariq's
gonna cut him or something.
But he just cuts his tie and lets him out the chair. He drops to the ground.
And basically he's telling him, okay, you know, I'm gonna give you another 24 hours and then I need my money. Yeah, he wants the other half.
Yeah,
they only brought
million.
half.
Yeah.
He wants the other million.
So as they walk away, Tariq's like, what the fuck, man? That wasn't part of the plan. And then Vincent was like, well, you told me they have my money. They don't have my money, so now it's my plan. And then throws a half-eaten orange right in front of his face.
We have Tosh and Keisha talking with Tommy and Ghost, where they all meet up, and they're trying to update the details of what they're gonna do to make this work. Like they need more workers, they need more hands to move product.
Because they just got robbed by Jason for half the money, so now they got to come up with it even quicker, the other half. So yeah, they're trying to put together this team of what they're gonna get done.
Ghost tells Tommy that he knows a guy, and Tommy's like, well, do you trust him? And he's like, yeah.
Yeah, he didn't tell them it was Benny.
That's when Keisha basically said, okay, well, what are we gonna do about this plan? Because they came up with a plan. Remember, they ended up coming with a plan about the whole robbing the whole place. Because that's where Tasha says, what about the fundraiser? We can rob the fundraiser and get the money back, and everybody can get what they need. And da-da-da.
Yeah, but all of that was in with them robbing and them getting the drugs too.
Because they all had
all of that was in the same conversation.
Yeah, because they basically, it's like Keisha was kind of like saying like, hey, some of this may not work. But
yeah,
Ghost started explaining something, and then Tommy kind of co-signed it, and then like Tosh kind of added her piece. Like they all kind of started to make the plan together.
Oh yeah. And then that's when basically that's when she was saying, well, what happens if this doesn't work then? What happens to Tariq? And that's what he's like, well, that's why we need our backup plan then.
They went and took one of Vincent boys.
And also before that, once Ghost leaves and everyone, and it's just Keisha and Tommy, she's like, well, after this, we're fucking done with it. Next, we have Tosh opening up a duffel bag, and Zig is like, are you gonna be able to move all this?
Yeah, she kind of looks concerned for a second, but then she's like, yeah, of course I can.
Next, we have Ghost talking to Benny about Proctor. Benny offers Ghost like, hey, basically like a favor, if you ever need anything. And as soon as he says that, Ghost is like, oh yeah.
Yeah, because Ghost told him that he thinks he knows who killed. He
said Proctor came and told him that he was basically hiding because he had a high-profile guy who was a sex trafficker or something like that. And he thinks that's probably who did it.
Next scene, we have Tasha and Keisha at the daycare where they're talking business, where Rodriguez and McCall come and talk to her. They want to talk about Tariq, where is he? Yes. And they basically say that she needs to hit them up by like today.
Yeah.
Next, we have Tate telling Ghost time's up and he needs his money back in the campaign ASAP. Tate is about to leave and Tosh is there.
Yes. And he tries to do the little political talk to her or whatever. She's like, Tate, get the fuck out of my face.
He says, I can understand why you wanted to leave him.
Yeah.
And then after she says, get the fuck out of my face, he still responds like politely.
Yeah.
Like,
all right, nice seeing you,
sister.
When Tosh meets Ghost, she's basically updating Ghost about what happened with the cops talking to her.
Yeah.
Next, we have Tosh meeting with Vic and Tariq and one of Vic's guys in the car, and basically this is to talk with the cops that she has to
let Tariq talk to the cops, because if not, they're going to keep looking for him, and that's going to bring, weight your way or whatever. So Vincent agrees to it.
Tariq and Tosh go into like a little restaurant where they meet with McCall and Rodriguez, and basically Tariq sells like how he wasn't there, why he wasn't there, and making it seem like he's like worried and all this other stuff. And
talks about dying and like, I'm tired of all this stuff and why does it keep happening? Because they're trying to ask him about the back door, why was it open? He says he went to go get hot chocolate, and basically he says he's always been using that door. Now he's saying the story he came up with was it was some white guy that lived in the building that didn't believe that black people should live there, so he just tried to avoid them and he would always use the steps.
Rodriguez kind of doesn't look sold on it. She always has like that kind of blank, like that little look on her face.
Suspicion, like,
yeah, exactly. Once they leave, Tosh is kind of fussing at Tariq, saying like she knows that he's lying. I'm your mom, I can tell when you're lying, even if the cops don't.
And that's when he comes out and says, well, basically, I overheard Vincent saying that even after you guys pay him, he's gonna kill all 3 of us, so it doesn't even matter. She tries to like give him a hug, and then
he's like, come on. You can't let him see that, come on.
Yeah, but she can tell that he's not feeling too good, so she lifts up his shirt and sees the bruises all over his stomach from the oranges.
Next, we have Tosh telling Ghost what all just happened about Tariq saying Vic is going to kill Tariq, Ghost, and Tommy once Vic gets the money. Tosh pitches robbing Truth, the club, and they have their idea of like how they're gonna make. It sounds like a pretty complex.
It's like some Ocean's 11 type stuff.
Yeah,
like basically they're in on it, so everybody's gonna be okay anyway.
That's when Keisha was explaining like, hey, you guys are gonna need backup in case something goes on. And like we said earlier, Ghost like starts having ideas like instantly, and they start trying to figure out how they're gonna make all this work as far as a backup if their initial plan doesn't work. Tommy and one of Tommy's guys, I forget the big dude's name.
Lurch, whatever.
Tommy puts Vic's dude in a sleeper, and then they kind of like throw him into the truck, kind of weird with his feet up. Tate wants to know how Ghost put the money back. They talk really low, kind of like under their teeth while they're getting pictures and looking politically correct. And
motherfucker.
And basically, Ghost gives him the thumb drive. He says has the only copy of these conversations that Tate had that can implicate him. Yeah.
For a really quick second, it shows Ghost giving a speech to the club where he's basically saying how he's going to introduce Tate. Oh, we have Dre giving Alphonse some product like outside of like the back of the club.
And he says to him, yeah man, if you're doing some stuff on the side or whatever, man, let me know. And he was like, nah man, because either way I'm getting paid.
Dre said that after Fonz, either which way I want to get paid. And that's when Dre's like, you doing some stuff on the side.
Oh yeah,
and Fonz like, I don't know what you're talking about, and he walks away.
Right after that, it shows Tate just kind of like, you know, being political and talking to people, shaking hands, saying how he's going to improve New York and make New York better.
They go through like
Ghost is doing it,
Ramona, Tasha,
We see Dre, and he's kind of walking around the club and surveillancing, and he sees some of Tommy's guys.
That actually used to work for him.
Exactly. He sees the guy with the glasses.
Oh, I forgot about that. I get it now. Oh, man.
That's why they didn't need to see each other.
Oh, man. So Dre sees one of Tommy's guys, and then Tommy's guy goes and meets the other one with the glasses, and then also the one guy spots Dre.
2-Bit sees him, and he tries to go through the little back alley. He goes out in the back, and he doesn't see him, so then he just kind of lets it go, whatever.
All of Tommy's guys, they're basically getting suited up, putting their masks on, getting the guns out. A few seconds later, where everyone is, the whole spot's getting robbed. And the robbers are given instructions of what they want everybody to do.
And basically, the guy, what was the guy's name that was working with?
Alphonse?
Yeah, Alphonse. Yeah, basically, he's like trying to play like he's the ringleader of the whole situation. And he gets a little too big for his britches, is what happens. He gets a little out of control.
And starts talking to Ramona, like, I know you from the TV and
the sex tape.
The sex tape and all this other stuff. And then that's when Ghost pulls out the gun and says, take the gun, take the gun. So Tate takes the gun.
And a little bit before that, Tate's like, I know him.
That's right. And that's when Ghost pulls the gun.
And
that's when Ghost pulls out the gun.
Exactly.
Because Tate said, I know you.
Alphonse makes everybody raise their hands even higher.
Ghost steps out and is trying to act like he wants to try to slow this down and stop it or whatever. And the dude's just like, nah, I control this situation. When
he like pistol whips him twice.
With hits him in like the stomach or something like that. And that's when Tate has the gun. He's like, put the gun down, stop. And they look at each other. And you see Alphonse look like he's about to turn around and shoot, and Tate
he makes the move like he's gonna do something.
Shoots. One shot to the chest.
And then he becomes the hero.
Oh, after that, he's interviewed outside. And
he's selling it, you know, of course. He's marveling in this because they bring up the fact that he was a police officer. And so he's like, oh, yeah, see, this is what we got to stop, this crime and this nonsense. We need education.
He looks like a hero.
Yeah, basically.
And Ghost is kind of in the background looking at it like, what's the
smirking like this.
Ramona basically says,
she explains all these details about like the club looks good, you know, it's promoting.
Everybody,
Tate looks like a hero. Everything that was
insured.
Everything is insured that was taken. It seems like it was a win for everybody.
To Ghost like that, like looks like, I know you did. I know it was you did something.
These people aren't stupid, man.
Or both. She was like, and I want you.
Probably was both.
We have the meeting with Vic, Tommy, and Ghost, and Tariq. Tommy drops a duffel bag of money on the ground. They let Tariq go, and he hugs Ghost. Another truck full of guys show up as well.
Well, before that, like I said, Vincent's guys pulls up. And Vincent was like, did you really think I was gonna let you go? I've killed people I've cared about for less than this. And then
Damn, that's some cold shit.
And then that's when Ghost was like, my son will be okay. Yeah. And that's when Benny and his goons pull up. The white car pulls up.
And he comes up and basically says to him, you know, this guy protected my daughter and had
my niece.
My niece with no scratch or nothing. So, you know, I got this guy's back no matter what. So unless you want to go to war with us, you gotta let this go.
And I thought that was pretty interesting because nobody has like talked to Vic like that.
Yeah,
like pretty much like checked him.
No, but Benny's an OG.
Benny also explains that Ghost told him who killed Proc, and Tommy is pretty much, I guess, waiting to know that he's been sold out, which Ghost does not do.
He doesn't. They all kind of look at each other, and then Benny shakes Ghost's hand or whatever and walks away.
Then it's just Ghost and Tommy, and they kind of have like that little look for a little bit, and then they both like go their separate ways.
Yeah.
Tariq says, Uncle T, you coming? Tommy says, nah, let's go get in the truck with your dad. And that's when Tommy and Ghost look at each other again. They smile, and then that's when they walk off.
Next we have Ghost, and Tosh comes into the scene saying Tariq is sleeping like he hasn't slept in weeks.
Yeah.
Ghost tells Tosh that Tommy is the one that killed Proctor. And she doesn't believe it, but he starts going down to details of like how Tommy was let in and all this kind of stuff.
He left his he said he never uses the back door.
Yeah.
I checked his phone. He talked to Tommy like a couple seconds before the incident happened, and that's when Keisha was like, "Oh my God."
Tasha?
Tasha was like, "Oh my God," and he lied to the cops about it. I think he did help Tommy.
And the very last scene is Keisha is trying to text Tommy right when she's doing that. Tommy shows up. And Keisha is worried, and Tommy explains to her that
Ghost knows about Proctor. He knows that I killed Proctor.
Yeah.
And then she was like, so what are you gonna do? He's like, I don't know. She's like, I'm not gonna let nothing happen to you. I'll kill him over you. He was like, this is between me and Ghost. And she's like, what does that mean? And he was like, time out is over.
And that's the episode. Yeah. So guys, who has the power?
Oh man, right now, I'm gonna be honest.
Ghost.
I was gonna say that.
Ghost.
Because I think
my nigga Ghost.
That's great. So, anyways, like I was saying, I think it was like he really started to put together the pieces again, and by the fact that he was able to organize that situation with the robbery at his club and get it so that everybody came back full circle, and it worked out for him and everybody's looking at him like, yo, all right, Ghost. And then the fact that he didn't basically rat Tommy out and have him go through the situation where Benny could have just killed him too. So yeah, I think Ghost took back power.
Nigga, Ghost. I've been saying that shit since day one.
You definitely
I've been saying that shit since day one. Team Ghost.
Something interesting you pointed out was that Sax wasn't in this episode.
Yes. Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe he's on timeout too.
Or Warren, or any of them really. Besides Rodriguez and this new McCall.
They were like the only authority figures in the episode. But yeah, guys, that is the episode. Please like the video, comment below, subscribe to Super Obvious. I am B-Diz, the Rockstar.
I am Werds Illah.
Mr. 4.0.
And we'll see you guys in the next video.
Peace. Peace! And the light just cut off, so now we have to cut it back on again.